Hello and welcome to another edition of Diplomatic Channel. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Over the weekend, the European Union held a workshop under its EU Agents for Citizen-Driven Transformation Program, implemented by the British Council for Nigerian senators and House of Reps members and civil society organizations. The workshop held in Lagos, Nigeria, and provided an opportunity for lawmakers and CSOs to synchronize their efforts towards nation building. I build on that in my interview this week as I speak to the chairman, Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs, Senator Victor Umeh, about the workings of the Senate Committee on Diaspora and CSOs in helping Nigerians in diaspora and in improving the work of CSOs. That's Diplomatic Channel in a wrap. We'll be right back after a quick check and other discussions in diplomatic circles.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has won the country's presidential election with 87.97% of the vote. The voting took place against the backdrop of one of the harshest crackdowns on the opposition and freedom of speech in the country. While the White House condemned the election as not free nor fair, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the Russian president wants to rule forever and that the election was illegitimate. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reaffirmed his determination to launch an offensive in Rafah, denying international criticism. The city is crammed with some 1.5 million Palestinians from other parts of Gaza seeking refuge. His comments come as the German Chancellor on the Middle East trip restated his opposition to the plan. But Mr. Netanyahu said no international pressure will stop Israel from achieving all of its war aims. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz says windfall profits from Russia's assets frozen in Europe will be used to purchase more weapons for Ukraine. He made the comments at the trilateral meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron and Poland's Donald Tusk in Berlin. The German Chancellor stated that he and his counterparts had agreed that US-led Ukraine Defense Contact Group would set up coalition to provide Ukraine with long-distance munitions and had discussed the need to purchase more weapons and boost military production on the global market.
You're probably used to hearing about the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, and nothing about the body that parents that commission. What does the Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs do? Isn't it a replica of NIDCOM? And why the merger of Diaspora and NGOs? These are all questions for our guest, the Chairman, Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs, Senator Victor Umeh. Senator Umeh, thank you for joining us on the program. How does the Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs differ from the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission?
They do not differ. They work together. The Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs oversight the activities of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. In other words, the NIDCOM is an agency in the formerly of the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and in the National Assembly, the various committees oversight the activities of agencies and commissions. So NIDCOM is under the oversight of the Senate Committee on Diaspora. We work with the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, which is the main agency and actually the only agency that is in charge of the affairs of Nigerians in the diaspora. That being the case, we meet from time to time. We take part in their programs and then complement their works in terms of legislative works. From the National Assembly, we look through their budgets and their expenditure and ensure that they are doing what they're expected to do. So the committee provides oversight function over the activities of NIDCOM.
I was just wondering, because it sounds like a fairly new committee, in the Senate. So could you give us a brief, history of the Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs?
No, it has always been there. The committee has always been there. In the previous Senate sessions, like 9th Senate, 8th Senate, they've always been there. And the thing is that when NIDCOM was established, it became prominent. Nigerians in the diaspora have always existed over the years, and issues that border on matters that affect Nigerians living outside Nigeria have always been there through the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But along the line, it became necessary to create a commission that will be charged with the responsibility of taking charge of the affairs of the whole Nigerians in the diaspora. Because Nigerians in the diaspora are a very large community, and through this commission, when it was established by the Act of the National Assembly, it became independent of the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So that's when people started noticing that there is a committee oversighting NIDCOM. Otherwise, issues bordering on diaspora had always existed, and the Senate and the National Assembly had always had a committee to look at the issues affecting Nigerians in the diaspora. So at that time, the diaspora desk in the Foreign Affairs still was oversighted by the Senate Committee on the Diaspora. The difference now is that there is an independent commission that is standing on its own, charged with the responsibility of taking interest in all the things that affect Nigerians living outside of Nigeria. They coordinate their affairs, and it's a very huge responsibility. That is why the National Assembly had to, of course, create this committee and made it prominent.
Yeah, it's a really huge responsibility, which is why I'm wondering why diaspora has been merged with NGOs. That's a totally different aspect that probably deserves its own committee, I think.
Well, we merge responsibilities in the National Assembly. The fact that the NGOs also have a lot of foreign participants in their operations in Nigeria. The donor agencies that support the activities of the civil society organizations in Nigeria come from outside. Various agencies, European Union, British Council, Ford Foundation, all the donor agencies that stimulate and support the activities in the civil society organizations that are basically the non-governmental organizations. It is convenient to put them together with the issues that border on the diaspora affairs. So it's not too much to handle by one committee.
How does the committee then intervene in issues of diaspora matters? For example, Nigerians in the U.S. are complaining there are only 3 embassies and consulates, and that's not enough because that's where you have the largest number of Nigerians in diaspora. There are issues of passports, there are issues of criminal issues that they have to intervene, just regular everyday life for the Nigerians in diaspora, things that are important to them, even acquiring a NIN, national identity number, things like that. Those are things that they worry about. I'm just wondering how exactly the committee intervenes in these matters.
Well, America is one country, and when you talk about diaspora community is quite large. It's not only America, Canada, Europe, Africa. Nigerians living outside the shores of Nigeria are classified as Nigerians in the diaspora. So they are a very large population, and what you have just spoken about is a small fraction of the needs of the Nigerians in the diaspora, those in the Americas. There are issues, immigration issues, passport, and all that. It is like that in all other countries of the world, even in South America, in Europe, in South America, in Asia, globally. Nigerians reside at every corner of the earth. So once issues arise that affect the lives of Nigerians anywhere outside the shores of Nigeria, they come under the Diaspora Commission. So it is very critical that we have a desk or a commission that is charged with this responsibility. The Diaspora Commission is doing everything now to ensure that we have an idea of total number of Nigerians living outside Nigeria. It's a very huge task. I'm backing on data mapping now, but I will be able to, on the click of a button, we will be able to identify Nigerians that live either in Brazil, in America, anywhere in Europe, anywhere in Asia. That is a very important thing, data. You have to know Nigerians that live where and what they do, because it is a critical thing that will aid the country in trying to harness the potentials of Nigerians living across the world. Every country has a great dependence on their diaspora communities, because they are the people that will basically support the operations of government in their home countries. So Nigeria has to step up its act and ensure that we're in a position to tap into the knowledge of very successful Nigerians that are scattered all over the globe. In America, Nigerians are holding forth in very high, big corporations, engineers, scientists, medical doctors, all manner of professions have expert Nigerians, in those fields. In America, in Europe, in Asia, Nigerians are very talented people. And having been exposed to the Western world, those who have lived there and risen to the top of their professions will have invaluable support to render to the country here in Nigeria. So the Senate Committee on Diaspora and NGOs, we are partnering with NIDCOM, trying to mobilize support for NIDCOM to be in a position to tap into the knowledge and harness the resources that we have in human capital of Nigerians living globally. When you were speaking initially, you mentioned about crime, people who are involved in crimes, and when they are caught, it constitutes a challenge for Nigeria. How do you deal with them? We are focusing more on Nigerians that are law-abiding citizens, people who have made their mark in their various endeavors, their various professions globally. And if you get to America, you'll see Nigerians being vice presidents of very big corporations, There was a day I went to Atlanta and I met a Nigerian who had been in the top board of Ericsson Communication. You know, such people are the people we are looking for. Nigeria is in dire need of those who have achieved great feats in their careers, in their chosen professions, in the medical field, in engineering, in science, and so on and so forth. And they're scattered all over the world. Government must make use of Nigerians in the diaspora, and this commission is ready to do the work. The lady I told you about, Abike Dabri, she doesn't rest. She travels all over the world. And since I came on this desk as the chairman of the Senate Committee on Diaspora, I've been able to see her work strength, you know, very passionate. What you need is to empower the commission, and they will go out there. By the time you put up a Diaspora Investment Summit, about 5 of them in a year, across the continents of the world, you must be attracting some people home. You must be convincing some people. You don't go with empty hands. Right. You must go with investment studies already done to be marketed to people who are outside. We have Nigerian Investment Promotion Council. We have all manners of agencies of government that we can assess their documents and carry them out. Go, when you call people, serious-minded people, for 2 hours round-table discussion, you give them documents to look at what they can come to do in Nigeria and make money. Nigeria is a country that is blessed with a lot of resources, yes, so we need people to come and help exploit these resources in a beneficial way to the Nigerian nation.
Senator, I wanted to talk about, you know, the other aspects of the committee that you oversee, which is NGOs. You just concluded a training by the European Union for senators and members of civil society organizations.
House of
Representatives. Do you think the civil societies have been treated fairly in Nigeria? And what's been the Senate's relationship with them?
Well, that is what we are trying to do. This workshop we had from between Friday and yesterday in Lagos, the idea of that workshop was to bring the joint committees of the Senate and House of Representatives on civil society organizations and NGOs together to be able to collaborate with these civil society organizations and properly focus them on the things they need to be doing. The civil society organizations are actually catalysts to good governance in any nation, because if well organized and given the freedom of space to operate, they are in a position to drive the change we are looking for. Ethical behavior, conduct, both in business, in government, will be promoted, and they will serve as watchdog against wrong practices you have today in government. You know, the way they focus their activities will determine the type of results they will achieve. That is why in the 10th National Assembly, the Senate President, who is the chairman of the National Assembly, and indeed the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, and the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, they are interested in opening the space for the civil society organizations to operate. We're not trying to re-establish the civil society organizations like Zenoffice in the National Assembly so that they will stay closer. Let us mirror Nigeria together and find those things that we need to be doing to drive the necessary change which the country needs. And we support them with legislation, because once we identify anything that needs to be done and strengthened by an act of the National Assembly in terms of lawmaking, it will be easy to prepare the bills and bring it to the Senate and the House of Reps for passage. You know, we are desperate to cure the ills of this country. You know, the civil society organizations need to be properly organized, because they are all over the place. they don't have coordination. And what the European Union did through the British Council in this workshop was to bring everybody together, and then we look at the strategies and the way to do things. Most times, there are people who are operating as either an NGO or a civil society organization who say they are acting as a vanguard for change or for democracy. And when you get close to them, there are people who are, rumor mongers. They don't have anything you can hold on to that is factual, you can rely on. Somebody can go to the internet and splash something accusing somebody of either corruption or the other. You get at him, he has nothing to show. So, but if they are methodical and they're strategic in their thinking, they will be able to act as serious watchword, on activities of people in the country, so that any lead they give you, you follow it to a good result. So they need to be more effective and also shun being used to sensationalize things that are not real. Because, noise making is nothing. A noise is a sound that signifies nothing. If you go to the newspapers, you see all manners of allegations flying around, being hauled about by civil society organizations, and anyone you follow, you get to a dead end, nothing. So, but if they are aware of their responsibilities, when they say air, and you look at air will be air, and you take that lead, you'll be able to do a lot and contribute. It's not only in that direction. Citizen awareness and mobilization is something we expect the civil society organizations to be doing. The citizens of this country need a lot of awareness. They have to understand programs of government. They have to understand issues of government that affect them directly. So it is a civil society organization that can go on and help to reach out to the grassroots people and enlighten the public, enlighten the Nigerian people, get them to become aware of their rights. Citizenship rights are very critical in every democracy. People must have to be educated on their rights, what constitutes a good behavior and what is not acceptable. These are the type of the programs the civil society organizations need to be projecting. I know they lack funds, and that was why, if you noticed in my remarks on Friday in Lagos, I was commending the European Union for the assistance they are given in mobilizing the civil society organizations in Nigeria and all other donor funding agencies, you said, and the rest of them. If money comes and they use the money to penetrate to the various levels of the society, enlighten our people, educate them on their civic rights, educate them on their electoral rights, what they need to do during elections, they'll be contributing in turning the country around. We have to be very committed to this. You see, during elections, civil society organizations go and register as election observers. Most of them are not doing that with full understanding of what their role should be. They just go and register, maybe because of the funds that will be available. You go and register yourself to be an election observer, and get access to the fund. And then that's what you see. But a civil society organization that wants to play such role in our democracy should be very desperate in ensuring that right things are done on the day of election, not only as observer, but as participants. They are the people who will be making more noise than the citizens when things begin to go wrong in polling units. It is the civil society organization that will say, no, we can't take this. We can't take this. No, put a stop to this. But elections will come. You will see all of them registered as election observers. The other day we saw a revelation that $6.2 million was paid by the former governor of Central Bank to election observers. Who were those election observers? Even though they said the documents were forged, but the money was paid to somebody. So this is not business. Civil society organizations are vanguards for change. There are people who will be hungry, but they refuse food to ensure that the right things are done. We need them to be active in this country so that we will be able to collectively drive this change that we are looking for.
Senator Victor Umeh, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you on Diplomatic Channel. Thank you for stopping by, for sharing your knowledge and your analysis.
Thank you very much. We look forward to trying to change the narratives about our country outside there.
I hope you've come away from that interview with a better understanding of the Committee on Diaspora and NGOs and where you fit into the equation of moving Nigeria forward. I'm Amarachi Ubani. I'll see you next time.